The air crackled with tension. Across the mahogany table, Daniel threw down his pen, the sound echoing through the silent boardroom. "That's absurd, Miss Hayes. Utterly absurd." Olivia met his gaze, her own emerald eyes flashing. "Absurd? I call it airtight, Mr. Walker, and I suggest you get used to it." For years, their rivalry had been legendary in the legal world. He was the ruthless prosecutor, known for his icy logic and sharp tongue. She was the brilliant defense attorney, renowned for her passionate pleas and unwavering empathy. Today, they were locked in another high-stakes battle, their ambition and pride fueling the flames of their animosity. As Daniel leaned forward, his words clipped and precise, Olivia couldn't help but notice the way his dark hair fell onto his forehead, the intensity in his eyes mirroring her own. A strange sensation, a tugging at the edge of her awareness made her pause. It was fleeting, gone as quickly as it had come, leaving behind a lingering warmth in its wake. The moment passed and Olivia steeled herself, pushing down the unfamiliar feeling. This was business, a battle of wits, and she would not be distracted. Not by Daniel Walker, and certainly not by... Later that night, alone in her apartment, Olivia couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that had taken root in the boardroom. She paced, the city lights painting stripes of color across her face, reflecting her own internal turmoil. It was ridiculous, this strange pull she felt towards Daniel. They were rivals, adversaries, their professional lives a constant game of chess. Yet, the memory of his gaze, the intensity of their unspoken exchange, sent shivers down her spine. She stopped by the window, her fingers brushing against something thin and red tied around her wrist. A simple silk thread, a gift from her grandmother, who always spoke of destiny and the invisible ties that bind us. "The red thread of fate," she used to say, her voice thick with the wisdom of generations. "It connects us to those we are destined to meet, no matter how far apart we may be." Olivia never put much stock in such things, but tonight the thread felt different, warm against her skin. It pulsed with a faint energy, drawing her gaze towards the city lights, towards the building where she knew Daniel was still working late. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Impossible, it couldn't be. Taking a deep breath, Olivia tried to dismiss the thought as absurd, yet a tiny voice inside her, insistent and undeniable, whispered, "What if it's true?" The storm hit suddenly, a furious torrent of rain and wind that lashed against the windows of the courthouse. Olivia and Daniel were trapped, forced to take shelter in a small, forgotten library on the top floor as they waited for the storm to pass. The power flickered and died, plunging them into darkness, the only light coming from the flashes of lightning that illuminated the room in brief, stark bursts. Daniel moved closer, his voice a low rumble in the darkness. "Are you all right?" Olivia, startled by the unexpected concern in his voice, drew back. "I'm fine, just peachy." The air hung heavy between them, thick with unspoken tension, and the electricity of the storm raging outside. Olivia hugged her arms around herself, trying to ignore the way her heart pounded against her ribs, the way his presence seemed to fill the small space with a strange energy. Suddenly, a deafening clap of thunder shook the building, and Olivia instinctively reached out, her hand brushing against Daniel's. The contact sent a jolt through her, a shockwave of pure, undeniable connection. She gasped, pulling back as if burned. What was happening to her? The storm raged on, trapping them in their shared solitude. Time seemed to stand still, measured only by the flashes of lightning that illuminated the library in eerie silver light. As the hours passed, the barriers between them, built over years of rivalry and competition, began to crumble. They talked not about law or their cases, but about their dreams, their fears, the things that kept them awake at night. Olivia saw a side of Daniel she had never witnessed before, a vulnerability hidden beneath his icy exterior. He spoke of his childhood, his passion for justice, his longing for a life beyond the courtroom. Daniel, in turn, listened with rapt attention as Olivia shared her own story, her voice soft and filled with emotion as she spoke of her clients, her unwavering belief in second chances. He was captivated by her passion, her fierce intelligence, the way her eyes seemed to hold the secrets of the universe. As the storm subsided, leaving behind a world washed clean and sparkling under the moonlight, they found themselves standing closer than before, their hands brushing. Olivia could feel the heat of his touch, the way his gaze seemed to see straight through her facade, into the deepest recesses of her soul.